What's up? How you doing? Here we are. Beautiful night tonight. Beautiful night. Having some tea. This is English tea. Twinings English tea. Premium black tea. So we're gonna try a little bit. Big fan. I'm a big fan of tea. Big fan of tea. All right, got some items here, some chocolates, Italian chocolates, hazelnut chocolates it says, and these are made in Italy, Cremino Classico. Cremino Classico, I'm gonna try some of that. Then I have a dark chocolate Sicilia. This is made in Italy, and it's dark chocolate with pistachio nuts. So take a look at that. You gotta eat it by 6:30-25. I will. And then I bought this, it's like a mint or something. Bianconetti, Don Bianconetti. So we're gonna try that. That's what it looks like. And then after we're all done, we brush our teeth with Marvis. I got a lot of these. They make great products, great toothpaste, and also made in Italy. So we try the tea. Nice and hot, nice and hot. So, yesterday I made a video, mainly, but not only, but mainly about Billy Joel. And I was talking about him, and then I went to mention something, and then I digressed. I got digressified, and I went to another talking point, as they say. So one of the things I was mentioning was the song "An Innocent Man," the actual song, the single. When I saw him in concert the first time back in '86 during the Bridge Tour, he sang that song live. So I saw him 3 times. I saw him a bunch of times, but 3 times. And then I saw him 3 again after that. But singing that song, and then just as he gets to the chorus, where he sings the high note in I am, you know, it goes all the way up, an innocent man. He would say I, and then another guy in the back, a guy named George Sims, would sing the I am part. And I go, he recorded this song 3 years ago, 1983 back then. This is 1986 now, back then. And he can't hit that note. So I found that very peculiar. And I saw him a bunch of times after that, and each time he had somebody in the back there, George Sims. I think another time he had Crystal Taliaferro sing the high note for that song. And I said to myself, I have a hard time believing that he can't hit that note. So time went by like it usually does, and I went to see him a couple years back in Vegas. So this is like 2 years ago, and I have really good seats. I'm like close to the front. And I was thinking, you know, I wonder what songs he's gonna sing. Is he gonna sing my favorites? Because I like a lot of the B cuts. I like the songs, you know, a few of them that never got released. For example, Vienna was not released. I love that song. Let me think. What? Half a Mile Away. Big fan of that song. You know, I mean, I love that album in general, but Half a Mile Away makes me feel like when I was, you know, that age. I mean, I wasn't drinking a bottle of wine on the corner there and hiding it. I wasn't doing that, but it's just the whole atmosphere of the song reminds me of my 20s and stuff, like, you know, late teens. So I like that song. Rosalinda's Eyes, big fan of that tune. Love the song Surprises on Nylon Curtain. I've never been in concert where he did that song live. Room of Our Own, he's done. Love that tune. She's Right on Time, big fan of that song. Doesn't do it often. This Night on an Innocent Man album. I love that song, This Night. Beautiful tune, and the vocals on that are amazing. Amazing vocals. So one time during the bridge tour, he sang that as the final song of the concert, and he sent us off on our way singing that song. And I thought it was, you know, one of my favorite endings to a concert was that, when he sang This Night, and he sang it perfect. I mean, you know, it's a song where you have to hit a lot of notes and hold them, and he did a great job. So he sang Piano Man, then he went into This Night, and I thought it was awesome. And I will say this, that I think now concerts are not as loud as they were when I was a kid. Now I go, I hear them, and, you know, they finish and I'm fine, you know. But back when I was a kid, you'd leave and your ears would be ringing, even the next day. You know, talking about damage. But now I don't get that. I think you know, there's a limit now, and they don't go beyond that. But back in the 80s and before, they would crank it up to, like, I don't know what the hell, jetliner sound, even louder than that. So I'm trying to think of Great Suburban Showdown. I don't know why, but I'm a huge fan of that song. I mean, I know why I like it, you know, but I've never been in concert when he did that live. But I'm a fan. I remember when I went on to that album, Street Life Serenade album, and I heard that song for the first time. I couldn't stop playing it. Love that song, Great Suburban Showdown. And I will say something about that album. I've mentioned it before in other videos, but I actually found the building that the cover is based on. I thought it was in New York, but no, it's out here in San Pedro. And I went down, I located it, I went in there, I shot some I asked them for some permission, and they said, oh yeah, sure, go ahead, as long as it's not commercial. I said, no, I'm not you know, making money off of these things. It's just, you know, for fun, YouTube. And so they let me sit there, and I shot a couple of videos, and then I explained to them, I said, are you aware that this building is on the cover of one of Billy Joel's albums? Nobody in there knew that. They're like, I didn't know that. They were all young too, you know. They were young bartender, two of them ladies, very young, looked like they were in their 20s. Then there was a guy there at the end of the bar. He had no idea either. I mentioned it to him, he didn't know. So I went outside and I was shooting some pictures of the building, and some older guy came up to me. Looked like he was probably in his 70s. And he says to me, what are you doing? Like, not in a mean way, just kind of like curious. And I said to him, oh, this is just a building here that was on Billy Joel album, and I'm taking a picture of it. He goes, oh yeah, I know that. He goes, I know. And he knew. But most people didn't know that. Or nobody knew that except for him. So yeah, like that album, even though he was rushed on that, but Great Suburban Showdown. You know, it's a cool tune. Roberta, another cool tune. Does not do that live, at least not for me. I have heard from Cold Spring Harbor, what's that fast song there? Everybody Loves You Now. He's done that live. I've been there for that. She's Got Away, I've heard live. Although that was not a B, that was an actual release. Good tune too, but the live version is the one they released. That was the one that became popular on Songs in the Attic, which is one of my favorite live albums. Let me think, what else do I always crave to hear live when I see him, and he never does? Oh, the Glass Houses, the I Don't Want to Be Alone Anymore. Love that tune. Never does it live. See any other ones there that I'm yelling do live and he won't do. Yeah, and back then I would sing along, you know, hard. Back in the 80s when I'd see him, I don't do that now because you blow out your voice, but I would sing loud, and then I'd go home and I'd sound like I had laryngitis. So I'm trying to think of other songs that are not hits. Scandinavian Sky is not really a hit, but he does that. It's a weird song. Trying to go through the I love the song The Stranger. Has not done that. I think he did that last time. I think he did do that one live, but he's never done it before. And I love the intro and the outro. I love the that, you know, that Stranger intro with the whistle. Man, that's an awesome concept. He came up with that. Great idea. You know, it's almost like The Godfather or something. Let me think. What else? Everybody Has a Dream. Big fan of that tune. Yeah, I'm sure there's a few others that I wish he would do live, but he doesn't. I'd like to go to a concert one day and he does all the non-hits. You know, not all of them, but at least half of them, the non-hits. When you're a fan that knows all the songs, it doesn't matter whether they're hits or not. You're familiar with them and you enjoy them. So, you know, call them up at my house and tell them, do some of these, give them a list of songs that were never released that I like, and tell them, do this. So anyway, as I was talking about An Innocent Man single, hit the ring here, I was saying that in the mid-80s, at some point, he stopped doing that. He stopped singing that high note, and he had somebody help him, not help him, but actually do it. George Sims, Crystal Taliaferro. And then last time, 3 years back, I think it was 2 years, when I went to see him in Vegas, he starts singing An Innocent Man. I was thinking in my head, I wonder who he's going to get to sing that high vocal now. I mean, Crystal Taliaferro is still in the band, so she could probably do it. And he gets to that point where he starts to go I, and he starts doing I Am, the high note, and he hits it. And I said, how is it possible that back in the mid-80s he was claiming, because he said it in interviews, he goes, I can't hit that note anymore. So how is it possible he hits it now and he couldn't hit it then? I don't think he was trying. You know, I mean, if you hear it, and not because I've gone on YouTube a few times and I've actually found that live from recent times, An Innocent Man single, and he sings it all the time now. So I don't know, somebody said to him, hey, come over here, you need to try to hit that note. What's this nonsense? You get the other guy, he doesn't even sound like you. So I'm happy that he's able to do that, and he sings it, and you know, and I'm a huge, you know, fan of that. Of that song. I'm a huge fan lyrically, especially. It's very clever, you know. And then I mentioned about a knife in the video, which I didn't. I said I was going to mention something about a new knife I bought one time. So I bought this knife, razor blade sharp, and I was mama's boy going home, hurrying, try to beat the light, wants to get a kiss on the cheek from mama or on the forehead, and then go down the basement. But anyway, so I bought this knife. I think it was a Smith & Wesson knife, and it was razor blade sharp, but it had a plastic thing on it, and I was trying to clip, you know, knock it off, and somehow the blade opened up, or somehow I opened up the blade of my thumb, went right over it, this thumb here, my left, and you hear that? Mama's boy going home, get a kiss on the cheek there. Went down that way. His mom was waiting at the door. Anyway, so it cut me deep. A a lesser man would have gotten stitches, right? So I was looking at it, it was all white inside, you know, fatty tissue or something, I don't know what that is. And then it started bleeding, like, you know, good amount. And then I wrapped it up, and then it was coming through the bandages. Eventually it stopped. But I bundled it up in a way where the skin, you know, was touching the other side, and I left it that way for a few days. And then when I took it off, it healed perfectly. You can barely see the scar. I mean, if I go like that with the light hitting it, I could see a vague line there, but it was deep. It was deep. I mean, this way when I see it, you can see a line. Looks like a road going into my thumb. So yeah, and even now when I touch it, there's a slight, it just feels different from this side, you know. I mean, there's no numbness, but it just feels different. Yeah, they always say don't mess around with dull blades, because they're dangerous. You know what's dangerous? Sharp blades. I don't know about the dull blades. I've never been cut by a dull blade. So anyway, great tea though. So that's what I wanted to mention. I want to mention those two things because I was thinking yesterday, I forgot, you know, I was like, okay, I'll mention that in a minute, and then I didn't mention it. So basically the first one was the high note in the Innocent Man song. And if you go and listen, if you go back to the 80s, you will hear, especially if you listen to the Russian album, the Red Album there, and that song, when he did it in Russia, he had George Sims do the high vocals on that, which I was disappointed. I go, you cannot tell me you can't hit the high notes yet. And then if you go to other concerts that he did in the 80s where they have them on YouTube, you clearly can hear that he's not singing that I Am part. But now, if you find him again in, you know, 2015 and on, he actually sings that. So I don't know what's going on. If I ever ran into him, I have a few questions to ask him, but that will not happen. I have run into a few celebrities. Stallone, ran into him. Isaac from The Love Boat, ran into him. Ted Lang, big fan of his. I was a fan of his from way back. Amy Adams, met her. I think, I've bumped into the DJ guy there, Shadow Stevens. Shadow Stevens, ran into him in Starbucks many years ago. That guy, that new guy that plays Captain, not Captain, new guy that plays Mr. Spock. Ran into him one time in line at a grocery store. I was buying some items, and he was behind me with a bottle of wine. So ran into him. I didn't talk to him. He looked like he had his own thoughts, so I didn't bother him. Met Wayne Newton. Nice guy. Really nice guy, that Wayne Newton guy. Donnie and Marie, met them both. And a lot of people that are young don't know these people, but well, Wayne Newton, you know, legend. And so, you know, Donnie and Marie as well. Marie was nice, but Donnie was over the top nice. Over the top. I think, who else was, met Frank Stallone, mentioned that in other videos. Sylvester, I'd rather be called Sylvester than Sly. No, I find Sly a little bit ridiculous. Sylvester, so what? They named the cat cartoon, so what? Tom and Jerry, you know, that's a cartoon. You think people that are called Tom and Jerry are embarrassed to be called Tom or Jerry because there's a cartoon with Tom and Jerry characters? They don't care. You know, it's like, oh, I used to get beat up at school, or they used to make fun of me because my name was Sylvester and they had a cartoon. So what? You think Sly is better? Sly. It's not even correct spelling for Sly. is Sylvester. It's not Slyvester. Nobody came up with that name. And I find it funny when people call him that. It sounds like they're, making fun of him or something. Sly. And he's he's smaller than you expect in real life. Like, I was standing right next to him. I was like this far apart from him. And, I looked over and I go, oh. Like, he had a nice suit on, nice dress shoes. He was doing his talk. And I was right next to him, and I in my mind, I was thinking, I didn't say it to him, but I was thinking, I thought you were bigger in real life. Frank Stallone is as big as I thought. But Sylvester is a little bit smaller than I thought. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Like I said many times before, that I don't know why he played a heavyweight. I know that it's more impressive to say you're the heavyweight champion of the world than to say you're the middleweight champion of the world. But he's like a middleweight, even a welterweight. I mean, small guy. And now when you see recent pictures of him, he looks even thinner. I know in Rocky III he was 155 pounds. My cat weighs like 155 pounds. So a small guy. But not to play a heavyweight. Maybe that's why they were having a hard time thinking of him as a heavyweight. They're like, but they were picking guys that were even, smaller. I think at one point they were thinking of Al Pacino. Or was that to play Rambo? Al Pacino to play Rambo. I don't know. I mean, he could have. He played that crazy guy in Scarface, right? So, could have. You never know. I mean, you don't think of him as that because Sylvester played, Rambo. But he could have pulled it off. I'm trying to think. I met Chuck Zito, and he impressed me a lot. Very nice guy in real life. I didn't expect him to be as nice as he was. Very nice, very accommodating. I asked him, for a picture. Very friendly. Very impressed with him. Trying to think somebody else. Like to meet Ruth Buzzy from The Lost Saucer. Of course, I'd love to meet Lee Majors because I was a fan of that $6 Million Man show, Possessed. All right, let's try some of these Camino Classico hazelnut chocolates, and I'm a huge fan of hazelnuts. They got rivets. Look at that, Rosie the Riveter. Look at that, rivets at the top. Right there. Like heavy duty. I can smell right away. I'm like a shark for chocolate. I can smell a drop of chocolate from like 3 miles away. Huge fan. Man, dark chocolate especially. Those clusters, I could finish a box. Let's see. Nice wrapping. Beautiful. I wish I could wrap gifts like that. Ah, that smells great. Yeah. Good stuff. This is nothing for me. I can finish that in an hour. That's delicious. Yeah, I'm a big fan of good quality chocolate. I mean, if it's not around, I will eat Hershey's if I have to, but You know, I like the high-end chocolates. There's a French place not too far from here, and they have really good chocolate from around the world. You got chocolate from Switzerland, chocolate from France, Italy. I don't know, what else did I see there? Antarctica, you know, all over the place. So now, try this. This is from Italy. I'm trying to find where in Italy. Sicilia. All right, let's see. This is much darker. Very good. Good chocolate. It's dark chocolate, and the center is creamy pistachios. So good. Wow. You go hiking somewhere, you know, and you want some energy food, get like 10, 12 of these. Keep them in your backpack every so often. Eat them. That's good stuff. Pistachios are really good. So my friend's mother, many years ago, like I want to say like maybe 25 years back, occasionally she would buy me a big bag of pistachios. Nice lady. And she bought me a 5-pounder, and one night I was sitting in front of the computer screen typing away, eating pistachios at the same time, and I finished the entire 5-pound bag in one night. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of pistachios. I ate the whole bag, 5-pounder. Now obviously it's not 5 pounds of pistachios, because you know you have to take into account the seeds, but I ate that whole bag. Probably, I want to say like 3-4 hours, 5 pounds. That's like eating a steak an hour. So very good. Now, I'm not going to eat the mint, whatever the candy has right now. I'm just gonna investigate it, see how it smells and what it looks like. I used to get, they don't make it anymore, but I used to get a mint called Sensen. And if anybody knows anything about Billy Joel, you will know how I discovered that. How did I discover it? In the song Keeping the Faith, Billy Joel mentions Sensen. Took a fresh pack of Luckies and a mint called Sensen. My old man's Trojans and his Old Spice aftershave. Great lyrics. So one day I was in a store, and I was just looking around, and all of a sudden, where the counter is, where the cash register is, they had like a box, and they had these little packets, and I looked at it, and then I looked again. It said Sensen Mint, and I go, hey, that's the stuff. And back then I was a huge fan of Billy Joel, so I had to try it. So I grabbed a bunch, and I loved it. Some people say, or they told me back then, that it smells like shaving cream, and they were right. It did. A very fresh smell. Then they stopped making it. Apparently I was the only one buying it back then. Alright. Very fancy. Look at that. The way they have it with the paper. Made in Italy. Not much of a smell. I will try it. They're white. You can see that. That right there. Very good. It's good. So, that's it. Sunday night, the 5th. What time is it right now? 11:07 in the PM. 11:07, Sunday night. All right, what else? Anything else we can speak of? Oh, I will mention, I went to see the movie Seven. It's an oldie, but they had it in the movie theater, so we went and saw it. And let me tell you something about that a lot of people don't know. In the scene where Brad Pitt's character takes the gun out there and he's got it on Kevin Spacey, and Kevin Spacey's told to get down, you know, and he's inside that police station. I'm actually, well, you can't see me, but I'm behind the cameras while that scene's being shot. So I remember watching them shoot that, and then Brad Pitt was like right next to me, and then they yelled cut, and then he went and sat over by the steps. He's just waiting for them to start again. And I don't know how many times they shot that scene, but I'm there, I'm in the back, you know, so when you see that movie, that specific scene, I'm behind the camera. I'm not a cameraman there, but I'm, you know, one of the people behind the camera there. So I was watching that being shot, different angles, you know. So that's it. Somewhat interesting. That's it for now. Ciao.